Hello Steve, hello Jill. It's time to game classy.
It's the same as it was last time.
Hold on. Can't see how am I gonna do this? Because I can't unplug it.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
There we go. That's better. Oy. Hello. All right.
Hello.
Sorry, we recorded for a minute there. Hello.
I gotta go grab my cola.
Your cola. Oh, you finally got the picture I sent you. I figured you'd be.
Skinner for Smash.
I figured you'd be super excited about the new Smash Brothers Brawl. I know. That's how I feel about it. I'm like,
I'd be excited. I don't like Smash.
I know. Well, I mean, Smash was all like
It's a fun party game.
Smash was all 12-year-olds, and now it's all 20-something-year-olds because of the last time it's Smash.
So many people who play that game at tournaments. It's just like, take a shower.
Well, yeah, they were all 12-year-olds who are now 20-year-olds, and they're all just nostalgia boning.
They still don't bathe. No, that's the thing. They don't nostalgia bone for the. So people who play Smash competitively, not even remotely close to that. They only play the one from GameCube.
Oh, okay.
They're like,
well, yeah, that's
Smash
nostalgia
Brothers?
boning.
We're gonna play the one from GameCube. No. They just never stopped.
Well, I know, but I know that's
So I
because
don't know if that's actually nostalgia. If you start doing something and never stop doing a thing.
It's like wearing jean jackets.
Yeah, I don't know if that's nostalgia because you never actually stop. Nostalgia is something that is when you go back and you're like, oh, yeah, that used to make me feel good back in the day. I'm going to do that again. But if you just start doing something and never stop, I don't think that's nostalgia. I don't know what that is.
We can't get on the video game stuff. There's so much to talk about today. So much.
By so much, do you mean just the list of things from our listeners?
Well, no. Besides that, I mean, because that always makes us go over. But I mean, there's other game. Like I'm just gonna put up. You know, we haven't had a lot of gaming news lately. I'm just gonna put up let's put up the question thing because fill up some time. That's great. I like to do it every like 10 or so episodes. And sure enough, it's like this is the week that everything drops in terms of like gaming news that I can talk about. That's non-GW because I know people are all like, stop talking about GW.
Only that one guy.
Well, yeah, the one guy. But I figure, if you do a sample size, it's probably at least like 5 guys.
5 guys.
5 guys is overrated.
Their fries are real good.
I hate their fries. I think their fries are ass.
But they're super greasy and disgusting.
Yeah, I don't like natural case. I don't like to see the skins on the fries.
Oh, well, then that's just personal
That's
preference.
bullshit. It's like that's lazy.
I like natural skins on fries.
It's lazy. You should get yourself some hired help to get rid of those skins.
I like the natural skins. If they're not steak cut fries, I prefer the ones that are like 5 guys with the natural skin, just super greasy.
Yeah, my favorite type of fries are like McDonald's style fries, like the super thin,
the McDo shoestring.
Yeah, got to get the crisp on there. No, okay, so
I don't like crispy fries.
Gaming stuff that's currently happening. I wanted to get this on there. Oh wait. Hey everybody, welcome to Game Classy. I'm your host Joe, and with me as always my co-host Steve.
Bump,
bump, bump, bump, bump, bump, bump, bump, bump, bump. It's time to start the music.
It's time to light the lights.
It's time to get things started on the Muppet Show tonight. I watched the Elton John one with my daughter the other day. It was good.
Very good.
So Night Models is finally dropping their Harry Potter game. We get to see the previews of all the figures. I can't wait to sit there and paint my figures so that they're screen accurate.
No, actually, you should just paint them just in like super vibrant, random colors.
No,
like purple skin and shit.
I'm gonna paint them so they're all different ethnicities and see like people get really upset about it at the table.
People get really mad.
And then get really mad. And then question them on their racism. Like, why can't Snape be black?
Nice.
Yeah, and then see them go like,
I would be all for that, except my only defense would be like, but it's Alan Rickman.
Well, I could see.
That's really all I could be like. Alan Rickman isn't black.
Alan Rickman would approve of this. You're like, yes, I would have looked good as an African American.
I don't believe he would be an African American because he's from Britain.
That's true. I approve of being black.
Yes. Very good then. Page 194.
He'd be like, oh, yes, I approve. Oh, my heart.
My bare
And then he
bones.
dies.
He didn't have a heart attack. He had cancer.
No, he didn't.
Pretty sure he died of cancer.
Let's look this up.
I don't actually know.
Because we have more important stuff to talk about, but I want to know how Alan Rickman died.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it was cancer. Like pancreatic cancer or some shit.
Oh, it could be. I just thought it was, heart attack as usual. Usually from cocaine. Pancreatic cancer. Good call. All right. See, I fully admit when I'm wrong, and I am wrong. Okay, yeah. So Night Models is coming out with the most useless mini game of, shall we say, the century, millennia. How far you want to go up with this of all time?
I don't know. I can't say all time because there's plenty of worse games out there.
Worse mini games, though?
Well, the thing is, if it was like a miniature skirmish game, I would be like, yes, I agree with you. But it doesn't actually look like a miniature skirmish game. It's got like a board and shit. So I don't even know what's going on with this game.
All I know is that you should be able to move the miniatures around with your penis. An erect penis, just pushing the figures around.
You can do that with any game.
Not in like a Warhammer tournament.
Well, yeah, because the table's too big. Like,
is it?
Yeah. Pretty sure you don't have a 4-foot dong. I mean, you might, but if you did, I'm pretty sure you would pass out every time you got an erection.
If I did, I'd be showing everyone my 4-foot dong.
You'd probably be in some museum of curiosities at this point.
A museum of oddities and curiosities.
Yeah. This is my curio, Joe. Look at his 4-foot dong.
That's just impractical at that length.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for humans.
I always think of that cartoon where it's like you see the girl with no boobs and she goes, I wish my boobs were bigger. And the girl with big boobs and she goes, I wish my boobs were smaller. And the guy with the tiny dick who's like, I wish my dick was bigger. And the guy with the huge dick who's like, I wish my dick was bigger.
It's good.
But it's like it's like a 4-foot dong. You're just like, that's too ridiculous, sir.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever charted optimal length of a penis.
It's basically if you're average, it's fine.
Well, I know that.
Larger doesn't necessarily mean anything because
Yeah,
the depths you are plumbing are also different.
I'm talking like at which point is a man satisfied at the size of his penis?
Oh, never.
Is the question? That's
I guarantee
the thing.
Never.
That's
I'm
the
sure
question.
if you asked like the dudes with the biggest recorded dongs, would just be like, it could be bigger.
Well, I mean, actually, the guy with the longest recorded dong, it's like all misshapen and weird, and he's like, yeah.
You want bigger too. Like it's not just about length. The girth is important.
It's all one. That's why it's called a package, Steve.
Yeah, we want the total package.
The titular package.
Yes.
So back to Harry Potter. Is this the dumbest game of all time?
I can't agree with that. I think there's been worse.
I hate the fact that they're so screen accurate figures.
But that's Night Model's gimmick.
I know that's their gimmick. It's just like, why do you want to paint something that looks exactly like it looks on the TV?
I can't knock it too much because I like Lord of the Rings like that. So
yeah. I mean, I think part of the problem with that is that a lot of Night Models they take a lot from the people who like doing busts, like historical busts. Mm-hmm. It's that style of sculpting on there. Mm-hmm. So the people who do the historical busts really like accuracy. So I think it's just the same concept.
That Mad Eye Moody figure is pretty cool, though.
The what?
Mad Eye Moody.
Oh, Mad Eye Moody's stupid.
Well, yeah, I don't care. He just looks cool.
Harry Potter's stupid.
It's for children.
I said it.
Congratulations. It's for children. Yes. Well done. You've done it.
I hate Harry Potter, Steve. I'm done with it.
Okay, it's for children.
For people who don't, know, in the city of Aurora, Illinois, made famous in Wayne's World, there is a Harry Potter, like a big Harry Potter festival that they do every year, and I have a friend who's really she takes like active part in doing that, and I'm just like, you're 34 years old.
Is it for kids?
No, it's for adults. Kids don't care about Harry Potter
that's
anymore.
Weird.
Yeah, kids don't. Well,
care. I guess it has been around long enough that you could have reasonably been a little kid and read the books while growing up.
Exactly. People who are kids, like little kids, like true little kids, like my daughter, 7 years old, doesn't care about Harry Potter.
They only like Power Battle Watch Car.
I take that's an anime.
No, it's some Korean 3D CG show that Pat turned me on to. It's terrible. It's absolutely awful. But he made me watch some of it, and I was cracking up. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, Pat? He loves it.
Well, Pat has a weird taste in cartoons.
Although it is explaining something to him. He's now understanding why RPGs are the way they are, because in many anime and in like Korean shows too, like when the characters are battling, they're like, I do this attack. And the other person's like, oh no, I do this attack. They take turns.
So why like turn sequence activation?
Right. So he's like, turns. I mean,
turns.
To be fair, if I was a kid, I would probably be fucking obsessed with Power Battle Watch Car, because it's like, holy shit. Yeah. It's like Dragon Ball Z, but they have remote control cars instead.
Oh,
that's what it is.
That sounds really dumb, but
well, yeah, but
more
I mean,
power to
again,
you.
It's for little kids.
children. Yeah, I'm just mad that Cartoon Network is creeping downhill from what it was just like 4 years ago.
It's still got Teen Titans Go.
It has Teen Titans Go, But where Adventure Time is almost over. They put out like a new episode once every 6 months.
Yeah.
And they Clarence not on anymore. I love Clarence. I know you didn't like Clarence.
What about is We Bare Bears on there?
Yeah, We Bare Bears is on every once in a while.
I saw one episode of that show that I really liked, but I don't know if that was.
I think We Bare Bears
indicative of the whole program.
Is a decent show. It's not really great for kids because it's a little too slow paced.
Okay.
I think, but I enjoy it. And but yeah, and Steven Universe comes back every once in a while, and they'll show like 5 episodes, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, they're really weird with their,
regular shows gone.
Yeah, regular shows gone. But he's that dude, JG Quintel. He's making a new show, I think, on USA or TBS.
Ooh, characters welcome.
It looks exactly like regular show, except it's for adults. Like it's legit made for adults.
See,
So,
but that's what I liked about regular
see.
shows, that it was for kids, but the themes were adulty enough that I could enjoy
I actually
it.
disagree. I think that regular show was for people our age, but it just happened to be like toned down enough for children to be acceptable. Because like so many, like there's an episode where they have like Laserdisc versus Beta.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't a single episode of that show that wasn't like, okay, this is like no kid is going to understand this.
Well, let me put it this way, Steve. As a man with 2 children, I know you do not have children.
Thank goodness.
I don't care about watching TV that often. The only time I really watch TV is if there's like a show on Netflix that comes out, like Jessica Jones. I'm going to watch the next season of Jessica Jones. Or if I'm watching it with my kids. So I really enjoy like watching shows with my kids that I can enjoy as well. Like my daughter right now is into like YouTube shows, and I hate it. I hate every moment of it.
Yeah, YouTube shows are awful.
This morning I had to tell her to turn off something on YouTube because I'm like, we're not watching this. And she goes, but it's this guy's running through this game. I'm like, no, I'm not watching a playthrough of a video game.
YouTube shows are awful.
And she's like, but I go, how much longer is it on this video? And I pause
7
it.
hours.
And it's a 15-minute video. I'm like, I'm not watching 15 minutes of a guy playing this Lego
15
game.
minutes, man. You're lucky.
Well, no, it's a 15-minute video, and I was like, we watched 2 minutes of it. I'm like, no, we're done.
What's it mean? Only a 15-minute duration.
Oh my god! And I don't care if that's like being a dick dad. Like, no, we're not watching this because it was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I'd much rather you watch the worst scripted show of all time rather than watching this BS. Anyway, let's get gaming because there's so much gaming stuff. I keep on getting distracted, like we do on this podcast.
It's true.
Like you do. So we got River Horse Games is doing
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim.
Boom, 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 boom. I'm really mad that they're doing it as a Kickstarter.
Yeah, well, of course.
Like, get the fuck out of here. That game, spend the fucking money.
Well, especially because River Horse has actually been doing fairly well.
Right, they've been making successful games.
Like,
it's just at this point, it's just like, ugh.
Their last 4 releases have been very successful.
Yeah, Kickstarter is just being used as a fucking store now. It's bullshit.
Yeah, but they're doing Pacific Rim, which leads to Privateer Press putting out Monster Apocalypse 2. All your minis are useless.
Yeah, you had minis from before. You held on the hope that we'd bring them back. Well, we did bring them back, but the minis you held on to, useless.
Wrong scale.
Wrecked.
In fact, they're not even going to be used in the game.
Also, it looks like you have to paint them now.
Yeah, you have to paint them.
Okay.
Well, they're not going to pay no Sri Lankans to paint their minis for them anymore.
I don't have that kind of money anymore.
Probably no. Oh my god, do you think this is like a desperate gambit because of how bad like Warmer Hordes is doing?
No, only because I know how long the development cycle in tabletop games are.
So this was coming out before they tanked Warmer Hordes.
Yeah. This was like, I guarantee, like while they were planning this, they were like, this is going to be a triumphant addition to our 3rd edition Privateer Press War Machine game, which will no doubt be a smash.
Smash.
Now, I do think that the 3rd edition the 3rd edition of War Machine was a very rushed, like, let's get this fucking out thing, because you can tell, and also that doesn't require that much of a development cycle because it's just rules. There's not new models.
That's true. Like, very true.
There's a lot less work you have to do to throw rules out than.
See, this is why I keep you on the podcast, Steve.
Because I know the industry.
Because you know the industry. And because me sitting here talking about games would sound like Steve Dahl on the loop eating a pastrami sandwich on air.
I don't know. Ooh, pastrami.
Have you? I don't know. You don't really pay too much attention to the world at large.
No.
But for those listening, Chicago has a local radio station called The Loop.
Oh yeah, they got bought by a Christian channel.
But it was. It used to be a hard rock station. I shouldn't even say a hard. It used to just be a rock
Classic
and roll
rock,
station.
right?
Classic rock. It was a rock and roll until the 1980s, 90s came around, and then everyone realized that it's like, they haven't played any new songs in 10 years. Well, we'll just call it classic rock and be done with it.
They just played the same music and never stopped.
Yeah. But they shut down, and for some odd reason, like, whenever this happens in Chicago, it happened recently with another radio station called Q101, and even before that with 103.
I thought Q101's back.
Well, it's been back in POG form.
Ooh, POG form.
Yeah. But every time that happens, people go, oh, I remember the great memory of listening to these stations. I'm like, no. You have some kind of weird memory of listening to this where you forget that it would be 40 minutes of commercials. Then it would be like a flagpole sitter by Harvey Danger. Then 40 more minutes of commercials. It's like, it's like, all right, we're going to do Sublime, What I Got. And then there'd be commercials. That's what it'd be. And awful DJs and like Man Cow and all the
DJs. Man Cow was on Q101.
Well, he was on Rock 103.5 first, went over to Q101,
Rock 103.5.
and then he got fired from Q101, was out in the wilderness for a while, then went to the Loop, and now got fired again.
Isn't he on satellite now?
It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Man
this goes
Cow's
with
stupid.
Hey, man, when I was like 15, there was nothing edgier to listen to than Man Cow.
No, you'd cut yourself on the edge of Man Cow.
Yeah, that's right.
I know, and he's still pulling out that same shtick.
He is the same exact, thing.
Yeah.
Who is listening to him now?
Like,
because his target demographic is still has to be edgy 15-year-olds, but what edgy 15-year-old is listening to satellite radio in their car?
Well, I'm a Chicago guy, so it's like I liked Mancow because he was a Chicago DJ. I never liked Stern because Stern was from New York.
Yeah,
and I was always about Chicago.
Those fucking filthy New Yorkers.
But now that I actually will listen to Stern, I'm like, I appreciate Stern's interviews far more than I appreciate Mancow or anything Mancow ever did.
Yeah, I don't think Mancow ever does interviews, really.
Well, no, he's just an awful human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a scumbag.
Yeah. But I just get so mad when I see people post this stuff about it, and it's just like, no one cared about the Loop. And that's why they went under, because no one listened to them. They're terrible.
Well, no, people did listen to them, but they listened to them years and years ago.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying is, like, if you actually cared about this radio station, you would have listened to it so it didn't die.
Yeah, I mean, who listens to the radio? Really?
No,
like
no
the radio is like the thing that you sometimes randomly have on your car because you're too lazy to plug your phone in.
No, I don't have that problem. I have a Bluetooth connection to my stereo.
No,
so,
same diff.
So I turn on my car, my Bluetooth automatically unloads.
If you're not playing something on your phone, you might have been too lazy to hit some buttons on your phone and be like, let's go.
No, are you kidding me? Because if I turn on my car and then the radio starts playing, I'm like, no.
You just get enraged.
Yeah, people who listen to terrestrial radio are... I can't even make a good comparison for what they are.
I used to listen to, they don't have it anymore, but there used to be a channel that would play the old radio dramas. That was my favorite radio station. I love radio dramas. That's what I listened to when I had satellite radio, too. There was a
Did
channel
you
that
listen to, the Prairie Home Companion?
I don't think they had Prairie Home Companion on there.
Like
but
Wobegon, where all the children are above average.
Every show, or every
Prairie Home Companion.
every show on it was the whole entire channel was just radio dramas. So they do The Shadow and Sherlock Holmes. Oh, it's fucking awesome. I love radio dramas.
Well, there you go. That's
They didn't do any contemporary ones, which is kind of annoying because there's actually some people still making new radio dramas for the internet. There's some Lovecraft
the internet
ones.
age.
The internet age.
Well, I know
there's some Lovecraft ones that are really good.
The HP Lovecraft Society does a shit ton of stuff.
Yeah, I love radio dramas. They're one of my favorite things. I don't know. I think it's
an
like
odd thing. It's like liking barbershop music.
I don't know, man. I just really like radio dramas. They're cool. Another big reason to like them is they're really, really good to listen to while you're painting.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, they're fun. And the stories are cool. Yeah, I don't know, I love it. Gunsmoke, listening to fucking
I
a
listen
Western.
to audiobooks, so I mean it's the same thing.
Same diff. There's just sound,
written.
there's just sound effects in mine. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
and the walking. I walk over here. Oh, and they've done, there's horror ones. There was what the fuck was it? It was called the Zone or something.
You're really impressed with, and you impressing me with your knowledge of radio dramas.
I love radio dramas.
Do you ever listen to the Warhammer ones that they do?
They're really good.
They're actually, they're not bad.
I really like them.
They're so expensive though.
For dollars to minutes, yes, but they're very well produced.
Yeah,
they've got great sound effects. The voice acting's really good.
That's why I like Audible. Audible has everything. By the way, I'm on book 7 of the Horus Heresy right now. I'm on Legion, which is pretty good. All of the books so
What
far.
is it? I think everyone says it's like halfway through. It's when they like there's one book that everyone says is like the worst. I don't know which one it is.
But I mean, I've like a lot of people said Descent of Angels, which is the Dark Angels one, is pretty bad, and it wasn't bad. It just my problem is that the Horus Heresy. There is no editor in Black Library who is watching over this because I have just a feeling they're like guys are just like I want to write a book about the Blood Angels.
I imagine when they submit the file to them, they just do Control F and they look to see how many instances of Bolter are in it, and they're like 27. This is good.
Yeah, probably
it meets the minimum.
There's like there can't be any editor who's legit working on these things because the story makes no sense. It's all over the place. It's non-linear. There's no character arc for anything because they're like. Someone at GW had to be like, Horus is evil. Well, why does Horus become evil? We don't care. He's chaos.
He's a bad man.
He's the bad man. But isn't it more important?
Look at him. He's a bad man.
Isn't it more important if the audience understands why Horus went over to chaos? No, it's even scared if he's chaos or
Just
not.
look at him. He's a bad man. He's got black armor.
Yeah, the people in charge. We should be doing this in a British accent. Like, oh no, I can't.
You know what? I'm sure my British accent is. I'm sure it's shitty, but there's no possible way I could do like one of my like nerdy like screeching in a British accent. It'd be impossible. And I think the nerdy screeching is more important than the British accent.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I don't think British people do nerdy screeching like that. I think they just usually be like, "Hey, it's not quite right there, mate."
You
like,
what, mate?
Yeah, and just like it's not very good, is it?
No, it would be like. I really think that Horus should be. We should see a character arc in Horus so that we see how he turns to chaos. You what, mate? You cheeky bugger.
I don't think that unit is in range.
I've played some British guys who are quite like that. They're the nicest people to play in the world.
Super polite.
Complete nutter dicks when playing the game. But
they're very polite about it, though.
By the way, I don't normally comment on like when people make comments online on like our videos on YouTube, just because I really hate comments.
There's
stuff.
YouTube comments?
Yeah, we get them all the time.
Oh.
One guy was kind of mad at us because we talked about how at the tournament, he thought what we were saying is that we would lie, cheat, or steal to win a tournament, and it's like, no. I just want. That's why I want to make a correction on the error. Is that it's not a correction. It's that we wouldn't lie, cheat, or steal. There would be no lying. There would be no cheating, and there'd be no stealing with what we do at tournament. However, tournaments, especially for money, if it's a couple grand, it's no holds barred in terms of if my opponent fucks up, I'm not going to correct him.
No
on it.
takesy backsies.
No takesy backsies. If you like, it's like chess rules. If you take your hand off that piece. It's done. It's moved.
Yeah.
It's,
You moved it, buddy.
I mean, you might want to, like, if you move your guy up and you might want to, like scooch him over a little bit or something.
You let go of the Marine, man.
Yeah.
It means it moves over.
That's fine, but it's like once you move on to another unit, the previous unit is done moving at that point. You have to, I have to be aware of my own stuff because I could be called on that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like if my opponent
Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Let your opponent fuck up.
Yeah,
that's it.
So if my opponent wants to doesn't want to call me on something that I did wrong, that's fine. But guess what? My opponent just fucked up because he should have called me on. I
mean, to win a tournament in anything other than chess, and even chess has the smallest modicum of luck. You need luck, and your opponent fucking up, human error, is part of your luck. That's simply that. That's just the way it is.
But it's also part of the reason why Steve and I both say.
Don't play in money tournaments.
Don't play in money. Well, it's not even don't play in money tournaments. It's that these games shouldn't have money tournaments.
Yeah, it's a little too like. There's a lot going on to have a money tournament for a game like 40K or Age of Sigmar.
Yeah,
Shadespire I could see. Shadespire is tight enough that a money tournament is not out of the realm of possibility.
I could not see the only thing I can't see any. Shadespire doesn't have that like. There's no like, oh, I moved this guy an inch too far.
Right.
There's no variation in
there's
that.
There's like no nebulous shit in Shadespire.
No,
the only
not.
thing that's nebulous in Shadespire arguably is card wording, and but they're pretty good about doing the FAQs.
Yeah,
so
I mean, and there you go there. And most of the time with Shadespire, if you have a question on a ruling, you could easily probably pull a judge, and the judge can make a decision.
Also, looking it up is like in a lot of cases, like cards that are kind of have weird rules, you can just like get a ruling. Like Adepticon's good because they released a pre-tournament FAQ. Like, this is how we're doing these cards at this tournament.
A pre-tournament FAQ?
Yeah. So the one thing I didn't like is they ruled Earthquake differently for Adepticon than they used it at the Grand Clash.
The earth move under my feet.
Right, because Earthquake's like considered right now. Everyone thinks Earthquake is like the most overpowered card in Shadespire. It's very strong, but the way Adepticon ruled it, it's much stronger than the normal rules that they did at Grand Clash. So like the big difference is Earthquake is you play it, you can move every model on the board one space, all in the same direction. The Grand Clash rule is that is simultaneous, so everyone slides. The Adepticon ruling is that the player who played Earthquake chooses the order. Now, the reason this is a very important distinction is because if you choose the order and it's not considered simultaneous, that means if I have a model that's adjacent to yours and I choose the right direction, I can make those models bump. So that means there isn't a movement. So I can say your model bumps into mine and doesn't move, but my model now moves, so my model's a space away. Or vice versa. My model bumps into yours, so it doesn't move. Your model's now a space away, which is a huge difference because the normal Earthquake rule, both of those models would remain adjacent and just slide. So having that level of difference is pretty huge. And I don't like that they made that rule, but it's not an official ruling for the game. It's just how it's going to be played at Adepticon.
I like that you were able to explain that to me, but at the same time, I like how my mind automatically glazed over as you were describing the rules. But I was like still like half listening, but at the same time, I'm just like Well,
if anyone's listening and going to Adepticon for Shadespire, that's a very important rule. Like, don't get if you're using Earthquake, make sure you use it like that. And if you're playing, don't get blown out because they can use Earthquake like that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out what we're doing at Adepticon because Adepticon's recording day.
Yeah, well, I've got the team tournament, I've got the
Shadespire tournament,
and I have the Age of Sigmar championships.
Yeah,
I finally got my fucking list done for the Age of Sigmar championships.
Woo! I know it looks nice too. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the figures.
Thanks. I've been building my list over and over and over. I found out something. This guy, the Herald of Nurgle dude, he's actually super fucking good for a reason that I didn't realize until I saw someone point it out online. This is the model. If everyone knows, it's like the super classic Nurgle dude with the scythe on the horse with like the sign with the crow on it. He's pretty old actually. I think he's from like 5th edition.
He's actually was released, I believe, for Storm of Chaos.
Yeah, he's old. He's
the Herald of Nurgle.
He's old as shit.
Yeah.
But he has both the mortal and the demon keyword, which is extremely important in that list because the demons get buffed if they're within X inches of a demon hero, but he also has abilities that affect Blight Kings. So if you stick him in the list, he buffs both types of units you can take in a Nurgle army. So he's much more powerful than I thought. I just got him because I wanted to make sure I got one of every hero. But when someone pointed out to me, I was like, oh, that guy's much stronger than I thought.
Well, there you go. Oh yeah, and auction was last weekend at the Games Plus. So I don't really have that much to say. I normally like doing like my state of the gaming.
But there was a dude in a poncho.
There was a dude in a poncho, and not like a rain poncho, a full on Mexican blanket poncho.
Nice.
Yeah, like I'm like, what the fuck are you, Clint Eastwood? Are you the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Maybe he
is. Are you the 4th member of the good, and bad, and ugly? The chubby, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the chubby.
Maybe he is.
It was ridiculous, but no, there was nothing crazy. It was just like a standard auction. I didn't see any trends. It was just like a lot of normal gaming stuff. A good mix of Games Workshop, Flames of War. Not a ton of anything. Not a lot of Hordes. Not a lot of War Machine. I don't think enough people are playing it anymore for that. Not a lot of painted stuff. Not a lot. It was just a bunch of random stuff that people were dumping.
I'm actually interested to know if there's maybe like an unseen contingent of people playing War Machine Hordes like at home, because there's something that I can't like. I had someone point out something that like maybe Privateer Press is not actually doing as terrible as I think it is, and their supposition was people are buying it cheaply online and only online, not buying it from retail stores, and they're playing at home, which maybe is a thing. I don't know. I think that the game's in dire straits and no one's buying it.
I think that people are still buying it. I think the people that are buying it, though, have already invested a ton of money into it, and they're just buying some other stuff because they like it. I mean, like, I do that sometimes with Games Workshop stuff. It's like, oh, I should buy these witch elves. Joe, you don't have a witch elf army. Shut up.
I do now.
I do now. No, I'm not going to buy the Witch
I
Elves.
actually really like that the War Scroll that's them plus Stormcast. It's very strong too.
What, the Daughters of Cain plus Stormcast?
Yeah, they have a specific battalion that's it's like three or four units of Stormcast warriors and then 3 or 4 units of Witch Elf warriors. It was very cool.
Oh.
It's got a really strong ability too. It lets you you get to activate 1 unit of the Stormcast and 1 unit of the Witch Elves outside of normal activation sequence. You get to be like, they get to do this thing, so like they get to move twice or attack twice in the same turn. Very strong.
Interesting. I probably wouldn't do it. Well, actually, I have some Witch Elves. I had old 6th edition metal Witch Elves.
There you go.
Witch Elves.
You've got it.
Some Chris Fitzpatrick sculpted Witch Elves.
Those are some nice classic models.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
They're not. They're. I have a soft spot in my heart for 6th edition Dark Elves. I know a lot of people do not like them. I have a soft spot in my heart.
I think that they have a very, much like most things from 6th edition, I feel that there's a very like rubber band level of quality to them.
Oh yeah.
It's like, wow, this model's nice. This model's awful. They were both sculpted by the same guy
At the same time.
Yeah. How?
All right. So let's get to mail call.
Mail call. Did we actually cover any gaming news?
We covered a shit ton of gaming news.
Oh, okay. I don't know, man. I already forgot what we were talking about.
Before we do that, one last gaming thing that I wanted to talk about was Zombicide, new Kickstarter. Steve, they've done modern. They've done medieval fantasy. Guess what they're doing next?
Science fiction.
Pew, 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 pew.
I mean, it's probably better than the regulars. Not like Zombicide. As much as I shit on Cool Mini or Not and all that stuff, like I think they're a garbage company and I think they make shitty games. Zombicide Black Plague was pretty good.
What about Rum and Bones?
As much as I shit on Cool Mini or Not and I think they make shit games, Black Plague was pretty good.
but Steve, what about every other game that they've put out? Rising Sun.
Oh, you mean Blood Rage?
What about Blood Rage?
Yeah, they keep making the same game with different skins.
Yeah, well, that's everyone knows that.
Yeah.
They have right now they have 3 games. That's it.
Technically, they only have 1. Like all of their games use the same fucking engine.
All right, so mail call. Andrew McCole asks us, when are you guys recording?
Today.
Right now.
Yeah. It's
Matt-
10:48.
And Matt Henderson says, not tabletop related, but do you guys have any thoughts on the 1-year anniversary of the Nintendo Switch?
No.
No, not at all. I think Nintendo's kind of a shit company.
Sure don't. Don't have
that
any thoughts on
relies
that.
way too much on nostalgia. Brandon Myers asks, wow, we're going through these questions pretty quickly. More impressive collection of IPs. Yasuko with Mega Man, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Top Gun, Cowboy Bebop, Buffy, and Top Gun, or River, I think he meant River Horse, with Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, Highlander, Pacific Rim, My Little Pony, and Terminator.
I think between those lists of franchises, I think River Horse wins that not close.
I think the problem is that Jasco has those games, but those games don't translate well into board games or tabletop games without a shit ton of work.
Well, Jasco's only got 1 game. They have Versus, which is a fighting game card game. So they just put whatever the IP is into the fighting game card
Isn't
game.
Mega Man
They have a board game and the fighting game card game, UFS.
Yeah. And River Horse, though, has Alessio Cavatore, arguably one of the best game designers out there and rule writers. So he could take something that's as shitty sounding a game as Highlander and probably make it pretty good because it's Alessio and he could do shit like that.
The Kurgan better be overpowered.
Yeah. I mean, like, personally, looking at Highlander, I'd be like, I'm not playing this game. However, it's Alessio. Probably makes a decent rule set for it.
The rule set will probably be fine. As long as there aren't Skaven involved, because he'll make them overpowered. Fuck.
Jason Yarborough asks, either of you looked at Gaslands by Osprey? I have. Have you looked at it?
I've sold a good chunk of it.
It's all right.
It's Mad Max, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just Mad Max with the Matchbox cars. You take your Matchbox cars, you kit it out, you got yourself a stew.
Seems fine.
Yeah, it's a fine game. I mean, my problem is that cars don't interest me that much. Like I was never into Dark Future. I was never into Mad Max or anything. Like I like Mad Max as a movie. I don't care about like the cars in Mad Max or the cars in what was the new one? Thunder Road, Fury Road. Yeah,
that movie was fucking
I mean,
awesome.
it was great, but the cars were like the least interesting part to me.
The thing that interests me about post-apocalyptic nuclear war zones anyway is always
The fashion.
the combat.
Oh.
Well, like actual like dudes like ambushing and like I've got a spear. It's like I've got a revolver with 2 bullets.
Yeah, and but they always fight like the guy has like a cudgel made out of like
a jawbone.
yeah, jawbone and stuff like that. It's like the weaponry, but I always like the fashion. Like I'm always like,
Oh sure, the fashion's
Yeah,
sweet.
it's like
this guy found some football pads and just like hammered some
Exactly.
fucking spikes into it.
yeah, that's what I'm all about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Which
it's-
you can't get it with the cars.
Yeah, you can't get in that in the cars. He also asks, what happened with your Hanna-Barbera Wacky Races game?
Oh man, we should still totally make that game
we need to create a wiki at this point of all of the game ideas we have come up with.
and just list the rule sets.
Just list the rule sets, like in the basic concept of it. It's like, yeah, here's Joe's take on the rules, here's Steve's take on the rules. This is why it's never going to get made. And that section's always the same thing in that we're lazy. Yeah.
Dick Dastardly OP. Good old Muttley. I would actually make
That
Dick,
hurts to do that, by the way, now. Yeah, you could probably do better.
I would make Dick Dastardly have I would make Dick Dastardly have the least odds of winning, but if his special whatever it was, if his special ability came up, he would immediately win. But I would make it like very low odds.
I always
So if you're a gambling man, you could play Dick Dastardly.
Here's my thing when I run games, I hate rules because I think rules just get in the way of a fun game. But what I used to do at the bunker is I used to run shit tons of little mini games all the time, constantly. And I would make up rules for it. And I had one which was Rohan Racers, where because we had 8,000 Riders of
Yes.
Rohan at the bunker, I would have everyone gets a Rider of Rohan figure, and I'd have them race around the board. And like that's a fun enough game that lasts 5 minutes. That it's like, okay, everybody's done with this racing game. No more than this.
One of the games I made up and ran for like multiple weekends successfully was actually just Pokemon. No one actually figured it out, but they get to each take a Warhammer hero, and then there were units they had to fight, and when they defeated the models, they got to take the models, and then they could deploy the models themselves. So they would just collect, like, oh, you got an Orc Boy. It's like, oh, you got a Chaos Warrior. And then they'd be like, all right, go. I'm going to use my Chaos Warrior. I'm going to use my Orc Boy. And I'm just like, this is Pokemon.
I used to do a game called I used to do dwarf tossing. That was a
Yes.
fun one.
Yeah.
And then I did catch the pig. Catch the greased up pig.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one that I used to do because there was a little pig model for some odd reason.
And
at the
Squig
bunker.
Racing.
Squig Racing was another one. Yeah. Raza, who has probably 8,000 questions as per usual, says, which is better, steampunk, diesel punk, clockwork punk, or cyberpunk? He's wrong on all of those.
Oh, you think there's a better punk?
There's a better punk.
Well,
It doesn't even have punk in it.
Between those options, I would say Cyberpunk.
Yeah, cyberpunk. I would agree with the options, but if I had to pick something outside of that box, vaporwave.
But that's not a punk.
I love
Vaporpunk.
Vaporpunk. For those who are unaware, vaporwave is amazing. It's so stupid. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's terrible, but it's great.
Yeah, it's all like just like neon and 80s
And lots of synthwave.
and lots of synthwave.
Hey, if you got Amazon, listen to Mitch Murder.
Mitch Murder.
Mitch Murder, yeah, you'll like
I'm not.
it.
I'm not a huge vaporwave music fan.
Well, he's not exactly. He's just 80s music. Listen to Mitch Murder. He's good.
Okay, I will. I mean, I like the style. I like the aesthetic, but it's like the same thing of like with steampunk. It's like I like the aesthetic. People who try to make music are terrible at steampunk music.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But that's also awful, not good.
Yeah. I mean, like all of it. I mean,
Now, if they played steampunk music using weird ass fucking instruments that they made themselves,
Yeah.
maybe we'd be talking like some dude on a fucking theremin and some dude on an accordion. You know, you could do a steam, like it would have to be like a hodgepodge of classical instruments to make a really good steampunk band, like electric violin, accordion, theremin, like something like that. They would need to be a very specialized. You know, the one steampunk band that I know of, Abney Park, they're just a regular fucking band. They got like two people with guitars and a dude on drums. Like,
yeah, it's just a.
they're not steampunk; they're robots.
Wow. Just much like a Daft Punk. No, I mean like if you want to have like music that's really like sounds like steampunk music that's not considered steampunk, you just listen to Tom Waits. Tom Waits is as close to steampunk as steampunk will as you could possibly get. I'm just gonna think like this the entire time. And the guy, I'm Tom Waits. This is a calliope. Boom, 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 boom. And you're like, what the fuck am I listening
What's
to?
happening?
I know, but it's like you can't stop listening because you're like, this is insane. Yeah, but Vapor, I think Vaporwave is great. Steve sent me a picture of a Vaporwave
Steelheart's Champions.
Yeah, Steelheart's Champions
They're
Storm.
the fucking coolest models
Oh my
ever.
god. I want to redo my entire army to look
It's
like
so
it.
badass.
And it's so stupid. Like I hate themed armies like that.
But it looks so cool.
But like for Shadespire, it's like the perfect amount.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you need.
Yeah, it's rad.
Yeah. Steampunk, y'all. Is Joe?
I'm steampunk now.
Scott Myers asks, is Joe secretly addicted to pain meds? Still addicted to pain meds. Here's the thing. You're never not addicted to pain meds.
That's right.
It's just whether or not you can maintain and not take them. And no, I'm not currently taking pain medication. Am I addicted to them? Yes. Yes, I am. I love taking pain medication.
Yeah, everyone
If
does.
someone gave me a big bottle of pain pills, I would take the entire pain pill bottle and be like just euphoric for 4 hours. But no, I'm not doing that because I'm a grown adult who can handle my addictions. It's like saying, are you still addicted to nicotine? Yes. Yes, I am. Do you smoke? No. No, I don't. It's like, Steve, are you still addicted to nicotine?
Probably.
Exactly.
But I haven't smoked in a long time now.
Yeah, it's like you're like, nah, it's like I can have a cigarette. You take a cigarette, and then you're just like, why all of a sudden do I have a carton?
Yeah, that would be a mistake.
Yes.
I'm not going to be doing that.
Exactly. It's a terrible mistake. No, it's like with the pain medication, it's funny because I got off the pain medicine around September when I was completely done with it. It was about 6 months, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this. My back is pretty good. I'm starting physical therapy. I'm gonna get off the pain meds. So I got off the pain meds. It was fine. Then around December-ish, early December, I got my vasectomy, and I don't want to say it's a botched vasectomy because it's not, but there was slight complications with it, which caused issues. Which they gave me another big bottle of pain meds, the exact same pain meds I was on before, and I was like, oh, I don't want to take these. I took them just for a week, but then it was like, okay, now I got to get off this shit again. Mm-hmm. So I had to go through the whole process again of weaning myself off, which sucks because you're getting night sweats and you're throwing up and everything else. And then it was, and then I had just about a month ago, not even a month ago, like 2 weeks ago. It was actually in between not the last podcast, but the podcast before and the last podcast. I got something called viral conjunctivitis, which is viral pink eye, where I was bleeding behind my eyes. And it was very, very, very painful. So I had to take pain medicine again. Luckily, it was only...
They keep dragging you back in.
Luckily, it was only for like 2 days that I had to take it, and then it was fine after that. So I didn't really get a ton of the withdrawal symptoms. But goddamn, it's like every time I try to get off this shit, like a couple months later, they drag me back on it. It fucking sucks, but it's better than being in pain. I'm in a lot of pain right now, actually, with my back. It's been about 1 year almost. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks away from the anniversary of when I broke my back.
Oh, time flies when you break your back.
Yeah, time flies. Still have the little thing on my car that lets me park in handicap spots, so that's all I really care about. Raza asks, if you had to pick a shit job to turn into an RPG class, what would be the tools of the trade for that class? What would that class have? Any stylized weapons? Example, a pizza delivery person, a two-handed pizza slicer that she can ride as a motorcycle delivering pizzas. That sounds like more like an anime thing. Like a unicycle that like the person
fires pizzas out.
No, that he like flips up and then uses to cut the pizza because of the wheel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you see
That's
what I'm saying there?
cool.
Yeah.
Combo.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a weird one.
I know. I can't think of anything.
I guess I would pick like a fry cook. That job seems pretty shitty. And
Yeah.
then, I guess his power would be like a really hot one of those like grease trays. You know what I'm talking about? The grease basket. It would just be continually dripping hot grease. You just put it on someone's head and melt them.
I would say teacher because it's kind of a shitty job.
Teacher's definitely a shitty job.
Yeah. It would be like the ultimate teacher.
I guess their weapons would just be like a bottle of unending alcohol. You just keep drinking it; it never goes away.
No, that just make you miserable. Being in a school and drunk at the same time is misery.
Well, you didn't say a weapon while doing the job, just a weapon inspired by the job. And I'd say their weapon would be a bottle of alcohol that never empties.
I'm that teacher who throws crap at the kids. So like I don't see them paying
I don't
attention.
know if you should admit to that.
I'll like whip a pencil at a kid. I got no problem with that. I'm really good at it. I'm really good at throwing pencils. Really amazing at it. Ozzy Kapushovsky asks, So you guys are back playing GW games. Any chance you play something like Infinity or a Mantic game? I love you guys ramble about stuff, but I was introduced during your show during your AIDS of shitmar times, but lately you're sucking on the titties of good old granny GW.
Yeah, well, GW stopped sucking.
Yeah, GW stopped sucking. When you listen to us from the beginning, we love GW.
Yeah,
and
it's the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster ride, man.
We go from liking to disliking to hating to kind of being interested to now.
It's a roller coaster, man. It's a roller coaster of emotions.
Roller coaster of G-dubs.
I did notice that we have been talking about GW a lot more, and so I'm going to try and balance it out a little bit more.
For me, like that's all I've been doing tabletop wise.
Yeah.
I've only been doing Shadespire
and
like
that's
Sigmar.
the thing is like we're two guys in our 30s
talking about what we're doing.
Yeah, and what we're mostly been doing lately is GW stuff. It's not outside of that. I mean, I like painting a lot of stuff that's non-GW, but I can't say I recently painted a gladiator figure, Steve.
For Arena Rex?
Maybe.
Yeah, Arena Rex is lit. That's the one you like. So, do I play Infinity? No, I do not like Infinity. I was not a fan of the game when I saw it played. I was not a fan of the game when I played it. I also think those models are really fucking hard to paint.
I think the models are hard to paint. They're hard to put together.
Yes, also that.
I think the rules when we were initially, and you also got to remember, Steve and I are what early adopters of games sometimes.
Yeah,
where we're like, someone will be like, "Hey, you see this Infinity game? What's this rule book written in? Is this what kind of moon language is this? It's Spanish that's translated to English
using Google Translate.
Yeah, using Google Translate, and you're like, well, fuck this.
Yeah,
this game doesn't make any sense. So
like, let me tell you, I'm at a pretty basic level of Japanese, and even I can tell you that Google Translate is fucking useless.
No, because I use it all the time for Spanish.
Well, maybe Spanish is okay, but like,
yeah. Well, and let me tell you this though, I have like let's say a 2 or let's say a 3 out of 10 star knowledge of Spanish. Like I can put the words together and I can understand it in my head if I'm hearing it, and I can even read it fairly well. Speaking it, I'm terrible, but I can use Google Translate to help me write a lot of shit in Spanish, which is useful for my job because I work with a lot of Spanish-speaking individuals. And usually I'll have them double-check it once I'm done with it, and they say, yeah, it's perfectly fine. So that's important to me.
But Spanish is also pretty much English, like for the most part. All those, yeah, it's almost the fucking same.
I beg to disagree.
Spanish, German.
I'll say German
I heard German is like almost identical to English in like many, many, many ways.
English gets most of its form and language from German. So I mean, like the way that we speak, the way we form sentences is German. So like the way I always say it is that if someone wants to learn English, who's a non-English speaker, you learn German first. Then you can learn all of the ways of doing English, and then you can easily go to English.
Yeah.
Like, just going from, like, French to English, you want to stab someone in the eyes because the things we say make no sense.
Right. Well, yeah, that's right, because I forgot, yeah, Spanish and French and probably Italian use the reverse orders, right?
Yeah, they do.
It's like adjectives, verbs, and nouns are, like, in a different order than...
Yeah, the adjective is after the noun.
Right.
Yeah. They say el coche azul instead of the blue car.
Right. The blue, the car blue.
The car blue.
But the words are like very similar to English. What I was saying is the words are similar to English words.
Yes.
Like fucking
Queso.
power, poder. Like, yeah. It's like, oh, okay, that's very close.
Yes. But anyway, as we were saying, yeah, we don't want to play a game that's a gobbledygook language, a moon language, like Infinity.
Yeah. Also, Mantic. I think Kings of War is incredibly unbalanced and not fun.
I think the bigger problem with Kings of War is that they missed the boat. What they should have been doing is really, really quickly and importantly capitalizing on a lot of people who did not like the transition from square base to round base in fantasy. They missed that, and he should have capitalized on that way quicker and way harder.
For sure.
And going up to people like, especially right now, I follow a lot of Warhammer pages, a lot of painting pages, and Old Hammer is still really popular. And there are people who go there and they're playing like 3rd, 4th edition fantasy, and I'm like, you guys should be playing Mantic because it fits way better with Old Hammer than what you're currently playing. Because what you're currently playing is an awful fucking rule set. Mantic works way better. It has all the same armies. You just need to do it. I like Kings of War. I think Kings of War is a fun game.
I think Kings of War is a fun game unless you're playing in a tournament because it's really awful if you play it like because because the game is so streamlined, like there's no reason to take a lot of units. Like the undead army is a great example. It's like, oh, you took skeletons, that's a mistake. You took zombies, that's a mistake. Like there's no reason to take anything other than this unit. It's just everything else is useless.
And I completely agree with you. It's just, and that's the problem with a lot of these mini games is that they don't FA fucking queue as fast as they need to.
It's basically they don't have, like, the thing that made zombies and skeletons worthwhile in Warhammer Fantasy was the fact that you could resurrect them and flank charges and rear charges mattered. In Kings of War, when you get a flank charge or a rear charge, you just get more attacks. So that means if you're using skeletons and you flank charge, you just get more shitty attacks. Yeah. So you should just be using a real unit because then you'll get more good attacks. So that was my biggest issue with that game, because like I played against my roommate with his he was playing the Basilian, the Angels, and I was playing the Undead, and like there was a combat where I charged one of his unit in the front and in both flanks with my army, but like I had fucking zombies and skeletons. So all of my attacks, of which I rolled a fucking shit ton, all bounced because they were shitty. And there's no combat resolution. Combat resolution is based on wounds, but there's no fleeing or anything like that. So like I did nothing. His guys did a bunch of damage to my guys, and I was like, oh, cool. And then he got the next turn, he charged, and he broke one of my units, and I was like, sweet, man, what a well-designed game. So the things that normally reward you in block-based games, which is superior movement, tactics, things like that, they mean nothing in Mantic. In Mantic, you take whatever your best unit is and you copy-paste it. That's the way to make a good list. So I don't like that stuff. Like the game is fine as long as you are well aware of how to make a list before you start playing it. But I built an undead army like, I've got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Okay, this is cool. Fucking useless.
And if you really want to just scale it up and make it better, just take War Master and just use the War Master rules of 28.
It's true.
It's a better game with all your favorite armies.
It's true.
So Simon V. Besombes or Besomes.
I think it's Besom.
Have you ever seen his picture?
Yeah, he's very handsome.
He's a handsome individual.
He's fucking handsome as shit, but he's French, so it's like, oh, okay.
No, he's Polish.
Is he? I thought he was French.
Well, he says he was. I'm looking at his picture right now.
Besom is not a Polish name.
No, he lives in Poland right now.
Okay,
that's what it says.
Yeah, I'll say Besom is a fucking French as fuck name.
He's a handsome individual.
He's super handsome. I was funny because I saw his post and I looked and I was like, that guy looks really good. And I clicked and I was like, is he a male model? Simon, are you a male model on the side?
Just so you guys, total homo. When I not no homo, total homo.
No, yeah,
totally.
He's very handsome as fuck.
Yeah, we're not afraid. We're secure enough in our masculinity.
There's no reason to be afraid. Dude's handsome.
Yeah.
Simon, if you can't admit that a guy is handsome, you've got problems.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're fully admit it. He says, I know you guys shit on the rules of confrontation big time, but let's be real here. Aren't Rack and Minis the pride, the legacy of my nation, not the best looking minis of all time, or what? Looking at the upcoming Kickstarter,
I would say, for an extraordinarily long time, from their inception to like maybe even just a few years ago, yes, the Rackham models were absolutely the best. Recently, I think GW has come up with some minis that I think are like at the level, like mainly Shadespire, like the Shadespire end, but it's like they kind of like catapulted from the Rackham legacy, because like I think the Shadespire Undead are the best undead models produced to date. By any company. I think they're extremely dynamic. They look fucking awesome. But a couple of the poses are ripped directly from the old Rackham skeletons. Mm-hmm. I think these are in a little bit better of a scale in terms of the sculpt. But that's where I think the industry's at now. If this new Rackham comes out and has new sculpts that are at the same differential,
not the same. It's not new sculpts.
It's not new sculpts. It's the same.
It's the same sculpts.
Okay, they do have the best Chaos Dwarves. Mm-hmm. I love the chess theme.
They're not releasing the chess dwarves.
Ah, fuck. those are the best models.
No, so as the guy who owns the biggest stock of Rackham models probably inside the United States, I'm not joking either. I have so many.
I thought you sold them.
No, not the Rackham stuff.
Oh, you're saving them? Are you saving them for now?
No, because, okay, so, yes, the models are, Steve is correct. Like, the models are probably the best produced metal minis of all time.
Oh, metal minis? No question.
Yeah.
No question. They're the best metal models. It's like, that's not even close.
up until the point where they went to Ragnarok when it was with the pre-printed plastics, which were awful.
they kind of shit the bed.
That was shitting the bed to the extreme.
It was actually misreading. It was misreading the industry super hard, which I thought was interesting because the reason they made that shift is because AT-52 was so successful for them.
43.
Was it AT-43? I don't
Yes.
know. Which was supposed to be dust, but then like they had a problem with Paulo Puente, so then they like made their own thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's why they shifted to Ragnarok as pre-painted plastics because AT-43 was a big success for them, and Confrontation was kind of on a downswing.
Yeah.
So they threw the baby out with the bathwater with Confrontation, which was a foolish mistake.
By the way, the Half Price Books right by your house, Steve, has 4 boxes of AT-43 on the shelf currently for $20 a box. I looked at it and went, ha! That's not going to sell.
Yeah, well, that was a cool game.
Yeah.
It was fun too. It was pretty solid rules.
I have a ton of AT-43 stuff at home
Yeah, it was a fun
because I'm
game.
just leaving it for my kids. Like, if my boy wants to play with it, they're pre-painted plastic soldiers.
Yeah.
What boy doesn't want to play with pre-painted plastic soldiers? Mm-hmm. Exactly. So those models are amazing. So getting back to what I was saying, those models are amazing. Confrontation Kickstarter will fail. Okay, let me take this back. The Confrontation Kickstarter will be successful. The game will fail, though. It'll be a blip. It will disappear in a year because this is what happens when you have a very successful miniatures line that you leave dormant for 5 to 6 years. What happened was Russia got a hold of it. They copied all of and they recasted everything, and they're selling it online for cheaper than it was selling originally. You could buy any of those figures in resin recast for infinitely cheaper than you could even bought them for metal.
Is this Kickstarter going to be for resin models?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's resin. I don't think they've really said.
They could bring metal back.
If they brought metal back, that's fine too. But in the resin, though, it's the same exact thing, and you're going to be paying twice the price that you can from a Russian resculptor. Mm-hmm. Not that I say, I'm realistic in this, in that if a person wants to get these figures, they're going to go with the cheapest option. The majority of people would go with the cheapest option if necessary. You either have 2 options when it comes to buying stuff like this. You either go the cheap or you go the easy. If the cheap and easy is the same thing, everyone else is fucked.
Yeah.
If you want to go cheap, all right, I got to go through this Ukrainian resculptor.
Yeah, I gotta gamble.
I got to take a gamble here. It only cost me like $3 more to go with the legit source. I'm gonna go with the legit source.
Yeah, it's $3.
Yeah. Who really cares?
But it's like with the Forge World counterfeits. Like I think a lot of cases, like for me particularly, and as someone who owns some Forge World counterfeit models, I can say it's like the difference for me is like it's just a model that I would never have bought otherwise. So like it's like I would never pay the Forge World price. So it's just like I'm not gonna pay that much. Like it's a model that I didn't need. Like I don't need this for my list. So it's just like it'd be cool to have. So I'll buy it. I'll buy a cheap knockoff. I don't know if that's the majority of people because I think there's a lot of people who are like I'm buying these because they're cheap.
Yeah. Oh no. Totally. But that's my problem with the Confrontation with it. And yes, the French that's the best game France has ever produced. Period. It's the only game France has ever produced, in my opinion.
I mean, also their paint job. That was the thing too. Their paint jobs were fucking out of this world.
Well,
when
they
came out.
I think that the success of Rackham is part of the reason why Games Workshop took such a nosedive in the late 2000s was because it's like you have to go up. Like people are upping their game. Like
better models, better paint jobs. The only thing it didn't have was good rules. The rules were terrible.
Oh my god! And the Better magazine, Cry Havoc was amazing.
Cry Havoc, a great magazine.
Yeah,
terrible rules though.
Terrible rules. I'm not going to argue that.
Also, I loved their bases. They had the beveled square bases.
Yeah.
Oh, those were so nice.
Those are really. But you know what the problem was with those is that 2 things. One, you had to cut out the slot for the guys.
You did.
And
I made you work for it.
Oh, and you'd cut your hands so bad doing that. And the other thing was that whatever plastic they used on those bases would not stick to standard glue. So there was problems with that. Okay. Raza asks his next question. Do you think that Man of War can be reworked to cover the Age of Sigmar? Do the gods really need boats to fight?
I think it could be reworked as a boxed game. So think Black Fleet. What was that? Was that the name of that?
No, it was...
What was the box game that Workshop released? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the big epic failure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dreadfleet.
Dreadfleet.
Yeah.
So make Dreadfleet, but good.
Yeah.
So like Dreadfleet is a game that had
Dreadfleet was good. The problem was
the rules were terrible.
No, they weren't. They were just overly
They
complicated.
were really bad.
They weren't that bad.
They had like fucking cards and shit.
They were overly complicated. It wasn't bad rule set. It was an overly
The
complicated.
ship
rule
models
set.
were awesome,
Yeah.
and the board, the playmat,
Yeah.
awesome. If you revamp Black Fleet and make it a really solid game, you could totally do that in Age of Sigmar and it'd be fun as fuck.
Well, I think the rule to learn from Age of Sigmar above all else, but the number one thing to learn from Age of Sigmar is if your game is simple, people will play it.
Yeah,
Yeah. People
Kiss.
people don't like super fucking complicated games.
If they do, they're playing historical games.
Yeah, they're playing historical games, or like you could get away with that in a smaller scale, like skirmish game.
Yeah.
Or like there's two ways that you have complicated rules set: small scale skirmish, or massively gigantic that you're going to be playing over the course of a weekend.
Sure.
You know, that's
Yeah, I
fine,
mean-
or the course of a year.
Yeah, like so small scale skirmish games, so having rules for like grappling and like kicking dudes off buildings and like that kind of stuff. Those rules are fucking sweet if you have, 4 models.
Yeah.
Those
If you're
rules
playing
are-
Harry Potter,
Those
the
rules are
fucking
not
Night Maze games.
Those rules are not sweet if you have armies.
No, and that's absolutely right. So that's the thing, and so you could do like a Man of War, I guess, for Age of Sigmar. Two things: no one likes boat games. We've kind of we like there's a small segment of the population that like boat games, and it's not enough to keep a game alive.
You'd need to make it different than a boat game.
Yeah.
You would need to make it like you'd need to ignore a lot. Like just make it a miniatures game. Like they move 6 inches. Don't do the fucking wind.
The wind is the worst part.
Just fucking make it you know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
make it a miniatures game using cool boat models. Nobody gives a fuck that you're doing like, you got to do the compass. If you want to put wind into the game, make it an active like thing. Like you can make like you have a wizard and they can make the wind blow and then like they do that. It moves the figures, like every figure moves 3 inches in this direction because the wind goes blowing. But don't have like an every turn, I've got to check the wind count. Like make it a quick, simple, fun game. I think you could do it.
Yeah, I mean it's like it would be like turning Age of Sigmar into War Master, where you have like these massive things, but it's more of not really infantry, but it's more of like airships and fucking tanks and shit like that.
Now that's what I want to see. I want to see a fucking revamp of War Master with Age of Sigmar. That'd be sick as fuck.
As I said, I would like that too, but I wouldn't focus so much on the individual ranked figures. It would be like tanks and airships, kind of like Dystopian Wars, but with Sigmar. So you have like the dwarven airships and fucking giant monsters for
Yeah, and what I would make the regular infantry. So if I was going to do an Age of Sigmar War Master base, the regular infantry would be on the Blight King base. So 40 mil circle would be your regular infantry unit, and you'd have your 5 little models on there.
Yeah.
That would be infantry. And then, giant monsters go on bigger circles.
Yeah.
And just make it all circles. I think that would be really good.
And I would sell it as a box game, and it would be like it would be chaos versus forces of chaos versus forces of order.
I would the first box I would just do Stormcast versus Bloodbound, the classic matchup.
No,
Korg is
I would.
cool versus,
I wouldn't. I would see this. Okay, so this is how I would do it.
But I want Hammerhand and Korg is cool.
I would have it so that you have this kind of the set, right? You have order. Order, you get some Sigmar stuff. You get some Caradon Overlords airships. Maybe some some Fire Slayer dragons in there and some Witch Elf stuff, right? And then on the Chaos side, you get all 4 powers. You get some goofy shit, maybe some Greater Demons and crap like that. That's fine. And if that sells well, then you do a Forces of Destruction versus Forces of Death. Kind of same thing. And that's it.
For me, I would do the box set would be Stormcast versus Bloodbound, and then armies would there would be no single packs at all. Everything would just be an army. So like if you want to buy Cardinal Overlords, it's one box Cardinal Overlords. Buy it. Done. Like every army would just be an individual box. There would be no
I
little
think
blisters.
That'd be fine too. I'm going down and make it simpler as 2 box sets ever released.
Right. You're making it as like this is a board game.
Yeah, kind of
I
like
would
like Battle
try
of 5 Armies.
Yeah, I would try
which
and,
is arguably one of the best GW releases of all
for sure.
times.
Yeah, I would try and like bridge that gap between like making it a miniatures game, but not uber customizable, because you can make a consistent game that doesn't have like you don't have to make everything.
You know what
like,
our game wouldn't have though, Steve? Boats.
Boats. Boats are cool.
All right, we got a bunch more to go through. Since Batman minigames is doing well, do you think other street-level superheroes would make a good game? For example, Spider-Man, Image Comics radio show heroes, the Shadow, Phantom, Flash Gordon, Green Hornet, or TV heroes, Captain America, The Greatest American Hero, Condor Man, The Cape, Mantis, Bionic Woman, so on.
Technically, there's already a Spider-Man street level game because Marvel Night Models makes the Marvel game,
Yeah,
just like Batman.
Yeah.
As far as those other ones go, no.
No.
I think the Shadow is really cool, but how are you going to make a Shadow miniature
What about
game?
Defenders? The Defenders of the Universe?
The Defenders of the Earth.
Defenders of the Earth, that's what it is.
Like, how are you going to make a Shadow miniature game? Like, okay, you have the Shadow. I have, like, some dudes with Tommy guns. All right, now let's play again. All right, I'm going to use the Shadow this time. Now you use the dudes with Tommy
Can I
guns.
be the Phantom? Can I slam evil?
Slam evil. Only if he looks like Billy Zane.
Billy Zane!
Yeah, I don't think those would
With
work.
the hazard stripe underwear?
Yeah, I don't think those would work simply because there's not enough like stuff. Like
Yeah.
Batman, there's a fuck ton of good characters. There's a fuck ton of villains. You know, the Shadow is like who is it? It's the Shadow. It's Lamont Cranston. That's it. He's the only fucking character. So like, how diverse can you make that game? Now, if you made a game, Defenders of the Earth, where the good guys were Lamont Cranston, Phantom.
Mandrake the Magician.
Mandrake the Magician. Not now. Then you might be talking. If you pooled all of those other like the movie serial / radio drama characters together into one game, like the Golden Age or some shit, you might have a game there.
Put Dick Tracy in there?
Yeah, for fuck
you gotta
yeah.
fight, you gotta fight Prune Face?
Oh yeah, you put Dick Tracy in there for sure. Yeah, that would work. I think but it has to
Big
be
boy.
it has to be one game. Like you couldn't do
movie
like
sucked.
you couldn't do like a dude. I don't even think I've ever seen that movie.
You never seen Dick Tracy?
But I like Dick Tracy as a character. I like the comic. I used to read the comic in the paper when I was a young lad. The
Flat Top's coming, Dick.
flat top. That's when I Duck Tracy was one of my favorite. Where the flat top with the planes taken off over his head. But yeah, you could do like a full like it's the whole universe in the same thing. So like I could see that. That'd be cool, and that would be cool to see like the Phantom versus the Shadow. That'd be sweet. I could see that. It'd have to all be together.
Well, first of all, that all exists in a gaming system that's Pulp Alley. So,
But they don't have officially licensed Shadow miniatures.
yeah, they do. Well, not officially.
Although
licensed.
is the Shadow in the public domain now?
I'm assuming it is. Like, there's very few things that are probably not in the public domain at that point.
Yeah, I don't actually know.
So Daniel V1K
Defenders of the Earth.
asks obligatory comment about what's up with our Lord and Savior, the Shogun. What's he been up to?
The Shogun?
Yeah.
I don't know. I assume he's hanging out in tea ceremony, Ocha. Or perhaps he was talking about the immaculate katana blade.
Yeah.
I am not the Shogun.
Well, how can you best use your dual-wielded immaculate katana blades to butter your toast?
You can't butter toast with katana blades, but you can cut loaves of bread.
Also, the new Japanese sectorial army box set for Infinity should give all the weeaboos a raging boner.
I believe Infinity already gives the weeaboos a raging boner.
Oh.
Because Infinity is made by Spanish weeaboos. Like straight up. Like it's totally made by Spanish weeaboos already, so oh. Are you done?
Oh.
I love that in games. Like in video games, whenever I hear that, I'm just like, yes. The fucking like bamboo shoot thing, like. Also in Fatal Frame, when there's the fucking like creepy ass chanting, like the ghost is like, and I'm like, fuck, like that's scary.
Gaijin. Oh, yeah. Stuart A. Williams asks, if you were to start a I think he wanted to say, if you were to get a Primarch, what would it be? Who would it be, and why is it Robo Girly Man?
Reboot Ghouliman?
Yeah. What Primarch would you pick, Steve, if you had to pick a Primarch to do an army?
Like to just paint an art, like for
if you had to do a 30K army, which Primarch would you do?
Probably the Iron Hands dude or Perturbo.
No,
Yeah.
Iron Hands is Ferris Manus.
Oh, Ferris Manus. Yeah.
Or would you do Iron Warriors?
Yeah, I would either do Iron Warriors or Iron Hands. Probably Iron Warriors. Perturbo, because Perturbo's fun to say.
Steel within, steel without.
Perturbo.
Iron within.
Yeah,
iron
that's
without.
probably what I would do. I'd probably do Iron Warriors, Perturbo.
I'm. This is cheating, but I already have Horus because I'm doing a Lunar Wolves and a Sons of
Is
Horus army.
Horus a Primarch?
Yeah, Horus is a Primarch.
Is he? Okay. I couldn't remember if Horus was a Primarch or if he was a special thing.
No, he was a Primarch and then became the War Master.
Ah, okay. Very good.
After Ulanor were the... So, I don't know if you know you don't pay attention to 40K...
No.
Any of the lore, right?
No.
So,
Like I have like the barest minimum of like I know like general concept lore from 40K.
Okay, so this is something interesting I found out since I've been deep diving into it lately. Spoiler alert for anybody if you want to skip like 5 minutes ahead. So just in case I'm spoiling the Beast Arises series. So that you do the whole Horus Heresy thing, right? And the one of the cruxes is the Battle of Ulanor, where it's like all the Primarchs get together and beat the shit out of this ore cord, this massive ore cord that's on this planet Ulanor. Well, it turns out that all the orcs come back in strength in the Force after the Horus Heresy, like a couple decades after the Horus Heresy, and like they attack Earth by like shooting the moon and the planet Ulanor at the Earth.
That's awesome.
Something like that. And so they managed to get rid of it by, they think that they make everybody believe they blew up this planet, but actually they teleported it to another part of the galaxy and renamed it Armageddon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I was like, that's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I thought so as well, but yeah. Stuart Williams commented, but what about Suboat Girly Man?
Suboat Girly Man.
One of my favorite things about the Horus Heresy so far is, granted I'm only a quarter of the way through, not even a quarter of the way through, is that you haven't even met Remote Gilliam yet. The only like you've met a couple loyalist Primarchs, but it's only like you haven't met anyone of any like real importance yet. Like you meet Rogel Dorn. That's about it.
Yeah. Or the Night Lords guy. He'd be cool too.
Conrad Kurz.
Yeah.
The Night Lords.
Yeah. Can I do him on a giant? Is he on a giant motorcycle?
No, he's the Night Haunter. He has a jetpack. The Night Lords is we're the fast attack chaos guys. We have bat wings on our helmets. We're the worst thing ever.
We look very 80s.
Night Lords. Brandon Myers asks, do you ever listen or watch the Dice Tower? And if so, what's your take on it? No.
I have seen the Dice Tower on YouTube like once. It was not very good.
They're boring.
That's it. That's all I got.
The only time I ever watch gaming videos online is if I needed like a how to play. That's it. Like, cause sometimes like I'll read the rules and I'll be like, this is weird. Let me watch this video and see how they do it. And like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, I think reviews as a whole part are like kind of dumb. If I want to review, like if I need to see like about a game before I buy it, I like to see like quick bullet points. I don't need to watch a 25-minute video about like, about Betrayal of Baldur's Gate. It's good. That's like, I think reviews should be more condensed. For everything. Like I think long-winded reviews are like very common and I think unnecessary. Like if I was going to review Betrayal of Baldur's Gate for you, I was be like, have you played Betrayal House on the Hill? Yes? Okay. So this is that game with some additional rules and it's quite good. You haven't? Okay. So this game works like this. You're a bunch of people exploring the city of Baldur's Gate together. After a certain number of turns, one of you betrays the others via these random dice rolls. It's very fun, has a lot of D&D feel, a lot of flair, very entertaining game, super casual. Anyone can play this game. I give it a very strong recommendation. That's all you need. That review is all I want from people.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with reviews...
With pictures. Like, show me some pictures.
There are a few people that I trust with gaming stuff, and then I'll just ask those people. I'll be like, hey, Steve, you ever played My Little Pony the RPG?
For sure. Peer review is by far stronger than anything critically, I think.
Because I know what Steve will like, and if Steve tells me, like, no, it's trash, I'll be like, yep. Looks like this game's trash.
It's probably not good. Yeah, I mean, and that's
not always the case. Because
I can also separate myself from whether or not I think the game is personally good. Yeah. Like Munchkin is a great example. I think Munchkin is a trash game. I think it's one of the worst games out there. But if you were to tell me like, should you carry it in your game store? I'd be like, yeah, absolutely, carry it in your game store. People love that game. It's like there's plenty of games that I don't think are good or personally aren't for me, but I think are solid games for what they are and for what Munchkin is. It's absolutely perfect.
I also think Dice Tower is pretty funny because it's like they're like we're the pulse.
They seem to really take themselves seriously.
They're the pulse of the gaming community by being 40-year-old guys who are far from the pulse of the gaming community.
Who the hell is Leonardo? Words uttered only by the poorly educated and those with their fingers far from the pulse of the city.
They're probably going to be like, so this local podcast called Game Classy, who has like 30 listeners, rabid listeners, sir.
25 listeners, tops.
Good times.
But yeah, I mean, I don't particularly have anything against them. I just think it's like, eh.
Speaking of listenership, I was talking with the guys over at Games Plus, and they were like, because they know that we have the podcast, they listen on occasion, and they're just like, oh yeah, I was talking to one of our distributors from the South, and they were saying like, and they were asking, "You ever listen to the Game Classy podcast? They talk about you guys a lot." And he's like, "Oh yeah." And he's like, "Do they really hate the South that much?" yeah, we do.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, like, look, I was explaining this to kids, to some people I was talking to.
Well, keep in mind, there's the South, and then there's the quotation marks, the South.
Well, no, not even. I just hate the South in general. But I was talking to some people.
You gotta count Indiana then.
Yeah, well, I do. I do a lot. And so I was talking to people, and it's like, I don't hate groups of people. Like, there's certain people, like, one of the things that annoys me is people who are like, I hate black people, but I really like my friend Tom over here who's black. You know, like, that to me is awful.
How does that even make any sense?
Well, exactly. That doesn't make any sense. But I'm like, I love all groups of people.
Oh, it's because he's one of the good ones.
Yeah, well, exactly. I love all groups of people, like Guatemalans, Hondurans, Ukrainians. Like, I love all people. But it's like individuals that I hate. It's like, I love all Ukrainians, but I hate this guy. I hate Yanoslav over here. He's a dick. I don't like Yanoslav, but that does not reflect poorly on the Ukrainian people.
It reflects poorly on Yanoslav.
With a very few exceptions, and one of which is Southerners. Like, most Southerners, like white Southerners, really bug the shit out of me.
I don't know, usually they're very polite.
Yeah, well, they're incredibly polite, but it's usually very two-faced. It's very much like,
you think so?
You know, it's like, bless your soul, you know, that sort of thing.
He's going to hell.
Well, and it's also, they probably just like, they don't treat me poorly because I'm white. So, yeah. I don't know. I made a lot of enemies right now. The South will rise again. I don't know. I hate the mosquitoes, the mugginess.
Yeah, I don't really give a shit about
everything about
the only legit state I think really sucks is Florida. Florida's awful.
What about Cuban sandwiches, Steve?
Florida's awful. I'll go to Cuba to get Cuban sandwiches.
I'll go down to Miami. I enjoy Miami. I like I think that's like the only cool part of Florida is like the wang tip. You go down there.
The wang tip.
You go down there and it's you know, you get some
just the tip.
Just the tip.
It's like I don't like the whole of Florida.
It's
just the tip.
It's essentially Cuba. You know, I won't go anywhere up north.
I don't really give a shit. I just fucking blab about stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really hate the South. I don't really give a shit about the South. That's my actual stance. Is I don't fucking care.
Yeah. I'm never going there.
Yeah, like
maybe New Orleans. Me and Steve will start up one of those New Orleans jazz bands.
Nice. We're gonna get some mud bugs. We're gonna get those girls.
We're playing in line. We're playing in line. There we go. Is Chris Newmeyer asks, is Monster Apocalypse enough to save Privateer Press? No. I don't know, Steve. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think I find this whole situation highly suspect.
Yeah, I think it's dumb in general that anybody would. It's just a dumb concept. Like, part of the reason why people played Monster Apocalypse to begin with was the fact that it was in blind bags. So you get that initial, like, I'm going to rip open this pack, I'm going to get a bunch of stuff, and it's probably not going to be anything I need, but I want to get that adrenaline high, or endorphin
rush.
Yeah, that dopamine rush, and buy another pack. And that's what caused Monster Apocalypse to be successful. It had nothing to do with the rule set. It was just the dopamine rush. So people held on to it, and then they're like, we're canceling the line. They didn't even cancel the line.
No, they never officially canceled Monster Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Never. They just stopped making models. And they stopped making models. They stopped updating the website, never said anything, and just let it sit.
Well, now they're going to have to hire Idris Elba to come in and be like, the Monster Apocalypse is canceled.
Like, we're canceling the Monster Apocalypse.
Yes. Why he didn't say that in that movie, I don't know. But yeah, it's like that was the whole point of it. I mean, the game was decent. It had some and they did some decently fun stuff. They put Voltron in it.
They're doing the one thing that I did think was pretty good is the main focus of the game is going to be 2v2 monsters. Mm-hmm. Which is much better than the original, because the original was 1v1, and the best lists ended up being run your monster away while you're just moving with your tanks.
Yeah,
and that's really fucking boring.
Yeah.
So hopefully the 2v2 as like the main format fixes it. I don't know. It might be good. I can't say. I think there's a lot of rules that need to be cleaned up, but it's been fucking 10 years, so who knows?
Yeah. And I think a lot of people will be upset over the fact that they can't use their old stuff.
I don't know how many people have their old stuff. Again, it's been 10 years.
But what happened to it? That's the question.
I assume they threw it away.
They just tossed it.
I assume they tossed it in the garbage.
I don't think so. I mean, gamers don't do that shit.
then it's sitting in a fucking box in the closet, or in the attic, or at a garage sale, or little kids are playing with it. They're still cool little kid toys.
They are cool.
Just
little kid toys,
I got a big monster. Yeah, they're legit little kid toys.
You know what I liked about Monster Apocalypse? The buildings. Like
the buildings were awesome.
Where they sell the buildings in little packages.
Buildings
that was a
very
neat
cool.
little concept.
Very cool.
That was a fun little concept game that they just fucking ruined.
Oh yeah, for sure. It could have been great.
Yeah.
But I think it ended up being okay, and it could have been great. That was the end all with Monster Apocalypse.
Yeah. I'm playing in line. All right.
I'll get some
Creole. We're gonna get some donuts, some beignets. Get some etouffee, crawfish etouffee.
But yeah, long and short on the South thing is that I don't think Joe nor I really care about the South. We just don't like racists.
Yeah. I think that's what it is too. Yeah, we just really hate racists.
And there's lots of them in the South, but there's also there's the
and REM.
There's
REM's from Athens, Georgia.
I think the thing
don't like REM.
I will say I feel that the racism in the North is more duplicitous than the ones in the South, because I think that you have a lot more two-faced racism in the North.
Well,
you have people who are like to their face, like, oh, we're okay, but like behind closed doors, they're like, I think at least the southern racists are a little bit more honest about it.
Could be.
It's like, I'm living in a trailer, I ain't got no teeth, but I'm the superior race. It's like, you might want to reconsider your stance, sir.
Have you seen yourself?
Yeah.
I ain't got no mirror. Yeah.
Yeah. So like those guys, those are the people we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Texas might go blue in the next election.
Who fucking knows? The country's a fucking shit pile right now.
Our president just paid $130,000 to keep a hooker quiet,
and he's gonna go negotiate with Kim Jong Un.
No, that was a publicity stunt. Have you seen this?
Oh no! Is this new news?
It's something. Yeah, I think it. So what? Politics corner here on Game Classy is that if you notice that every Friday there's been like a big news story release that's been going around, so it dominates the news cycle over the weekend for like those stupid talk shows that they do in the morning that no one watches, but yet are somehow still relevant. Mm-hmm. So they have so I think that the Trump team was trying to get ahead of like whatever was going to be released this weekend, so they put out like he's going to go negotiate with Kim Jong Un, and then there was no story released, like no big revelation, and so they were like, oh, yeah, that's not really happening. Yeah, but we are having a big military parade on Veterans Day this year.
Finally.
Yeah, that's exactly what our nation needs to get proud of itself again. A big military parade.
Fuck.
Say one thing you will about the Soviet Union. At least they made that kind of cool to do. But the thing is that's Soviet. It's not really American to do that. Yeah. Like Americans, we're just like, nah, it's all right. We don't need that. We just want Harrier jets playing "Rock You Like a Hurricane."
Here I am. Bow, bow.
Go to planetarbitrary.com for your Planet Arbitrary needs. You can follow me on Twitter at Planet Arbitrary. You can follow Steve at
I'm Command Throw.
Like our Facebook page /Game Classy Podcasts. You can also like our sister podcast. We have the Play On podcast, which is all about video games. Street Fighter 2, maybe some Mortal Kombat, maybe some Mega Man, maybe that new game that they just released for the GameCube.
The Cube.
You could also listen to Deconstructing Daycare, which is also on the Planet Arbitrary page, which is all about looking at kid shows, kind of like what we talked about earlier with the
Power Battle Watch Car.
Yes. Oh, you could also listen to Weeb Town, which is
mostly just us playing Dragon Ball Z at this point.
Yeah, but that's available on Twitch
and YouTube.
And then you have Comic Book Logic, which is where we're reviewing the original 2000s X-Men.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Morph. He was super into Morph.
He was super into Morph, and we're watching the Bryan Singer movie where we're gonna watch it and go like, how is Patrick Stewart not aged since this movie?
He actually looks better now.
He looks better now. What's going on? Why is Halle Berry saying these terrible lines?
She was written really bad in that movie.
Why is James Marsden? Why does no one in that movie look like they've gotten any older? That's the weird thing about it.
That's actually pretty accurate.
Like even Famke Janssen looks
Hugh
the same
Jackman
age.
looks a little older.
Yeah. He just got jacked.
But he's also bigger.
Yeah, he got jacked,
He's
man.
jacked, man.
So, Steve, until Adepticron.
Remember, hate people for who they are, not what they are.
Do, 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 do.
Game Classy.